like these type of umbrellas because I feel very in charge with them. Like, ah, yes, I am taking a stand on my wooden block. So we're just waiting for everyone to be up past those two trees back there. It can get kind of hard to hear me the further you are. So I'd like to wait to make sure that everyone who wants to hear me is able to hear me. If you don't want to hear me, I do understand. You can go back down and take more photos. Just keep an eye on the group. In 1984, there was a very big mudslide. Top of the mountain you guys are going on, all the way past the highway you guys came in on. The city saw this mudslide and didn't really want to deal with it very much, so they just left it. They cleaned up the roads, but left the land as it was, and it stayed that way until our founder came along and decided to buy around 50 acres of it, planning to put a nursery, some walking gardens on it for his wife, and to solve that mudslide issue. Now, to solve that mudslide issue, he had to go and rent an excavator, a very big, very expensive piece of machinery that he did not take the insurance out on like his wife told him to. The very last day that he had that excavator, he was finishing his 5th and final pond when he went to take a step back and rolled right over a log he had left unaccounted for earlier in the day. Now that log went into the body of the machine, causing thousands of dollars in damages, and he was not very happy. So he took that tree, he lifted it up, he flipped it upside down, and he slammed it in the ground, hoping it would shatter into millions of pieces. But as he slammed it in the ground, it just stood there, with the roots dangling down, almost looking like flowers. And the more he looked at it, the more he got this idea in his head. He's like, you know what? Okay. So he called his wife. He went, Cindy, I have an idea. You're gonna think I'm insane. Also, you may have been right about that insurance. And that is how we got our upside down trees. What's gonna happen next? You guys are gonna follow me as I make my way towards the front of the group and lead you up past the bathrooms and up to the trams. I will be at the front of the group because I am accident prone and walking backwards. And if I go down, I go down alone.
I know the feeling.
Excuse me. Now this is only my second tour of the season, so hey, there you go. You're here on opening day. Now let's see if I can still do this. Who wants to hear some of the berries that grow here naturally? Alright, let's see if I can remember my list. There are blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, samberries, nagoonberries, twinberries, elderberries, cloudberries, watermelon berries, cranberries, crowberries, currants, huckleberries, bunchberries, bearberries, snowberries, baneberries, kinnikinnick berries, devil's clubberries, and many more. Oh, absolutely, blueberries, raspberries. Now this stream that we are passing right over here was not here before the mudslide happened. Steve, our founder, actually carved out this river so that the water from those ponds would have a safe place to go to. And it leads all the way out into the marshlands. Now this tree right here, it's got a bear carving on it, but the important part of me pointing it out is we had a baby porcupine sleep in it last season. Just nestled right underneath the roots. It's adorable, I have photos. As we head up this way, we are going to head to the right-hand side of the road. We are going to hug this side and form a line because we learned from the right-hand side only, not the left-hand side. Because the right-hand side has some footstools for you, while the left-hand side has a pond instead. One wrong move will try to load from the left-hand side, and you might end up going for a swim. On a hot day, I will admit it can be kind of tempting. On a day like today, however, maybe not so much.
Welcome, my name is Deb. I'm your driver and guide up the mountain today. We do ask that you keep all body parts inside this vehicle, please. Do not reach out and grab these plants. Some of them do have thorns. We don't want anyone poked, and you don't want to take something home you don't really want. This is our slide area that Steve came in and reclaimed. He has done a tremendous amount of work here to make this place beautiful for us. These roadies were all planted about 25 years ago, and they are very beautiful when they're in bloom around June. Over here on my left is a plant we ask that no one touch. This is the Devil's Club. You can see all the thorns on it. Once those go in your skin, they do not come out. It takes about a week to fester. Over here on the right is Steve's rock. This is the rock that caused Steve all of his problems. He gave us our beautiful towers today. All through this area, we're going to see these settling ponds he put in. They collect a lot of sediment and debris that come down through the creek because of the large amount of rain we get. Every year, he dredges these out. He gets thousands of tons of sand and silt and gravel that would otherwise end up in the ocean. Over here on the left is an elevation marker. We are 100 feet above sea level. Coming up on the right is a flower tower shower. We don't have any flowers out yet because it's still too cold, but he does have the shower spray. He ran a garden hose up this creek and wrapped it around the tower and poked holes in it. It does plug up a lot, but you can see some of the spray coming out of it. Makes for a really pretty shower in the summertime. As we make our way up this mountain, we're going to leave this slide area and enter into the forest. The temperature is going to drop a few degrees by the time we reach the top of the mountain. The little heart-shaped plants on our forest floor are the deer tongue lily. The big green waxy leaf is also a lily, but it's called skunk cabbage. We have no skunks, but we do have their cabbage. And all the bushes that you see on both sides all the way to the top are fruit bearing. These are blueberry, huckleberry, elderberry, salmonberry, gray currant, and black trailing currant. Two more flower towers on our right. Steve does all the planting and all the landscaping in this area by himself. He is a very busy man. In his spare time, he came up here to the left to an old stump and carved us a 5-star squirrel hotel. All the bushes are fruit bearing, with the exception of the tall one with the lighter branches. That is Fult's azalea. It does not produce berries or flowers. It does have a bud on them in the spring, so they kind of trick nature into pollinating them. Coming up on the left and right are the last two of the flower towers. This is the end of the landscaping in this area, and it takes between 80 and 120 plants to cover these towers. When Steve brings the plants out of the greenhouse, they sit outside for 2 to 3 weeks to acclimate to the colder weather. If he was to bring them out and plant them all right away, they would perish. We're at our 200-foot elevation. Up above us, to the right, is a cliff. The cliff has a big chunk off the side of it, and that was caused by the waves eroding it away. This was once seashore here. 10,000 years ago, this land was covered with a mile to 2 miles thick of ice. Pressed the land down so far that after the ice melted, the land began to rise. As of today, we still look at the root system, you'll see it's very flat and spread out. Our trees here do not send down a taproot because they're on solid rock. They send their roots out to intertwine with one another to give them stability. The highest wind recorded on top of this mountain was 200 plus miles an hour. So all through the forest, we're going to see really tall, broke-off stumps due to the high winds that happened a long time ago, like this one over here on my left. Another one up here on the right. Brow log over here on the left. All the trees that you see out in this forest are all about 150 years old. Should give you a pretty good idea of how long ago the winds were that knocked a lot of these trees down. This forest is 70% western hemlock and 20% deciduous spruce. Coming up on the left is a tree we call the donut tree. This tree grew around a large boulder to give it its odd shape that it has today. When Steve started building the road system, he dislodged it and buried it in this road. Now the higher we climb this mountain, the less the vegetation on the forest floor. And that is because the canopy shades about 70% of our daylight. Coming up through this area is a good example of the rock we have. This rock is called shale. It is a sediment rock that was once laying flat on the ocean floor. It is very crumbly. You can see that on the right side of it. The road system that we are on, Steve built this a long time ago. It took him 4 years to build. When they first started, they had little golf carts that ran up and down this main road. And as the business grew, the carts got a little bigger. He has done a tremendous amount of work on this road to get us up and around here. And we are pulling a 23% grade up this mountain. Coming around the corner up here on the right, you'll be able to see how shallow the soil is along the right cut bank. From an inch to a foot thick in places. We okay back there? All the logs that were used in this road system came from the slide area down below. When Steve went in and reclaimed the creek, he unburied a lot of timber. He was able to use it in his road so he didn't have to cut trees down out here in this forest. If you look up to the left, you'll see the road you're riding on. It is called the corduroy road system. It has been in use for thousands of years. He laid down his logs, put down a geotech fabric, and lined it with rock. The corner coming up on our right is Cascade Corner, and this is a fault line. We get about 1,000 earthquakes a month here in Alaska, but we don't get to feel them all. Quite a few years ago, someone on a tour took that picture, sent it to National Geographic, and we're in their magazine. fisherman. At the age of 18, he made his first trip to the Bering Sea. The following year, at the age of 19, he made his second trip in the winter. After that, he decided to plant flowers. We are very fortunate to have our roads and our facilities today. Now, I do know I get close to the edge of these corners. This machine is 25 feet long. His corners are 12. If this makes you nervous, all you have to do is close your eyes like I do. I don't close my eyes. Out here on the right in a tree is a marker. It's a Forest Service boundary marker telling us where our property lines are. We are now at the 500-foot level. The rock is still shale. In 10,000 years, this is how high we have risen out of the ocean. We're going to make our way to the 600-foot mark, and we're going to go out on the boardwalk, and I don't know what we're going to see today, because it's foggy. We did have a view last time I was up here. All the little trees off the right are the third growth of the western hemlock. It takes a tremendous amount of time and energy for these little trees to grow to be as big and tall as they are up here. Also up here, our rock changes. Our rock is now called basalt. It is volcanic and very hard. Steve chiseled with a hoe to get us up and around here. The rock wall used to be down by that big stump. So you can see how much material he's moved to get us through here. Now, if we're not too squeamish, we can look to the left. See the road you just came up. If you are, there's pretty rocks on the right. I am going to stop on this flat area. If you want to picture the road, there it is, but please do not get off. Over here on the right side of us, a few years ago, we had a bunch of trees that blew down because it's not warm out. We're just about to the 580-foot mark. When I come around the corner, there's a green shanty. He will have plants hanging off of them, or off of it. When we get out on the boardwalk, we look to the left is downtown Juneau. Out in front is the Gastineau Channel, the Juneau wetlands. Over to the right is the Juneau Airport and all of the Mendenhall Valley. When we get to the unloading station, I do ask that you get off on the right side of this vehicle only. We're here for a very short time. Take your photos and enjoy the fog. If I could control the weather, I certainly would. There you go. Where you can't see your ship. Mountain range in front of us is Douglas Island. Juneau wetlands out in front of us, airport, and all of the Mendenhall Valley to the right.